Today, Josh Durso, Rebecca Swift, Paul Russo with us here in studio. Most exciting part of the show here for me, because this past weekend, Rebecca, I went snow tubing for the first time in my life.
Oh my goodness!
Right?
Yeah.
So it was
serious.
So it was a spur of the moment plan. We were looking for something to do with a couple of our friends on Saturday, and my wife was like, "Hey, why don't we go snow tubing?" And there's a spot in Wayne County. It's called the Links at Greystone, one of my favorite golf courses in the region. Also happens to have this awesome snow tubing spot, as you're going to see here from the video. Pretty intense setup they have up there. So they've obviously got snow machines to create snow when it's not snowing, or when the winter has been like it has been here. They've got a couple different hills for different scenarios. They've got a lift system to get people to the top of the main hill there. And because of how icy and warm and sunny it was, an ordinarily fast hill was even faster, to the point where they actually stopped allowing people to link up. So you would basically get like groups of 2, 3, or 4 linking up their tubes and going down together. And because of obviously the heavier the object is, the more speed and momentum it's going to catch going down. And about halfway through our time there, they stopped allowing anybody to link up, because as you can see, it was cloudy when I shot this particular video. But when we got there for the first 45 minutes, it was 35, 37 degrees and very, very sunny. And it was literally turning the top layer of snow into just basically ice channels. It was like going down ice channels.
I love it. That looks so fun.
A ton of fun. You see the little, those black mats, those black rubber mats there at the end. They are stopping. They're intended to stop people. And that's kind of their gauge. They have somebody down at the bottom. And they're determining how many people can link up or not link up at the top based on how far through the stopping system people are getting. And as I alluded, we were starting to get to the very end of it. I didn't record it, but I actually went through the stopper system. Not a big deal. There's nothing on the other side other than more snow. But obviously things could get a little out of hand. Paul, I wanted to talk to you because you have you've gone tubing before, and you actually have an experience. Was it as positive an experience as mine was?
Well, yeah, I mean, overall, right? I mean, overall, it was so fun. But, mine was actually down in Ellicottville last January. My first time, the only time I've been tubing down there at Holiday Valley, I believe. So, same scenario-ish as you, except temperature-wise, it was still in, the 20s when I went.
Yep.
But because really the days prior, there had been an ice storm. So every lane was just slick.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So definitely speed, and I can confirm the heavier the object is, you're moving pretty good. But, I had an interesting, each place tubing-wise, it's a different way they kind of go about things and stuff like that. So at least down in Ellicottville, where I was for that, the lanes had cutouts in them so people from the further lanes can get back to the lodge area and back up the queue quicker. And I had the unfortunate situation. Now, I noticed with you were going down on your butt, feet first.
Yes.
I was going down on my stomach head first.
Ooh.
That is risky business.
Yes.
My buddy did that. In the last clip of the video, you can see my buddy going down that, and he was rotating.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happened to you. Did you start to spin?
Yeah, so I started to go one way a little bit, and I thought because look, the barriers for all the lanes are snow. I thought we would be fine, right? If we nudged into one of those abundance going in no, it was iced over pretty good, and my left knee was in some pain for a number of months afterwards. And to further your point, like I said, each place is different. So down in Ellicottville, they don't have the rubber mats, but they have an incline that will slow you down is their stopping system. And I came close. There was a few of us close to clearing it every now and then.
That's not ideal.
It was not,
ideal.
and I can tell you what was on the other side. You had a small brush line and then active rail line going by in the back. So
No, that would be tough.
it was quite the experience, that portion. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun still nonetheless. I mean, if you're able to go to one of these places, obviously we got, right, Greystone's really semi-centralized for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, if you're in the Finger Lakes, Greystone is a great stop for this because, and also, you get a 2 hour, each reservation's 2 hours long, and 2 hours is more than enough time.
Yeah.
And it's like $27 a person for an adult and a little cheaper for kids. So, as far as entertaining the family, an easy option to go. Now, I will say, you sign a waiver before you start, and
For your imminent
the
death.
first couple go-arounds are a little squirrely, right? I think the first couple I described to you guys that feeling of, I'm going faster than the human body should be going naturally, and you adjust. The one interesting thing from my standpoint was, especially as the tracks slickened up, and I think there's like roughly 8 lanes at Greystone on the big hill. There isn't a lot separating, like there isn't a lot like preventing you from, if you have the right kind of momentum, from hopping and being in the lane next to you. So it's that part of it's interesting. I call it, I guess, maybe one of the most underrated, dangerous activities that anybody can just go do whenever they want to.
No, definitely. And Nate can hit this on his bingo card here, but there's a saying in racing, like, you don't realize how fast you're going until you go until you're spinning, right?
Yep.
And that, trust me, when you're tubing, it's the same thing. I know, right, going down head first. First run was perfectly fine. I stayed pretty straight that whole time. Second run is where the first time I went sideways a little bit, I'm like, yeah, this is an interesting scenario here.
So there's a rope system attached to every single tube, and they warn you up front and a couple times while you're there. If an attendant sees you, they'll say, "Hey, make sure that's inside of your tube," because if it isn't, things can get really bad. And we actually saw someone come out of their tube about 3/4 of the way down and wind up having to leave with what looked like a broken ankle or a broken leg, one of the two, and an injured limb, which, if that rope is out, it gets caught underneath, it can end rather poorly. So it's really important to just follow the instructions that they're giving you. If you're a kid, make sure you're accompanied by an adult.
For me with that, they told us to make sure if it's going to end up, they would put the rope in the back. They would tell you to have it wherever you start naturally back anyway. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the case, what happened with him, or if he was rotating enough that
it was well, and it's one of those scenarios where, 3/4 of the way down, you have enough speed going where it doesn't really matter what, like if you, because I noticed a couple times, like even just adjusting your weight on the tube, once you're at that sort of peak speed, if you're moving yourself a little too much, you could come out of it, turn it over, flip it. There are a lot of ways that could go poorly.
I just can't with the
Would you do it?
person going around
Would you do
in
it?
circles.
Could you do it?
Oh, yeah, I'm a skier.
You're a skier, so naturally, you could absolutely do it.
I would do it, but I
do
with the person going around in circles, like, I don't know why that just hit me. That's hilarious. You're like, whoa, like you're supposed to just be going down, and then you're like, I mean, to me, that's like motion sickness heaven. I would be so sick if that happened.
Oh, right. Yeah, see, the only thing is
while going
when
down.
Through the video that I was shooting, like when I was shooting video, I was keeping myself super, super still to prevent, one, so I'd held onto my phone throughout because I didn't want to lose my phone on the way down. Also, so that I wouldn't twist or anything like that, because I noticed like if you let your arms go out, or if you like let your legs kind of like move around a bit, that kind of helps the turn. That's why the people who are on their stomach, their legs wind up flailing all around, and that's why they start spinning around.
No dice.
Now, here's the thing. You're a skier, right? A skier,
Yes.
not a snowboarder?
Yes.
I actually, the first couple runs, I thought to myself, I could see someone who skis not wanting any part of this because you have no control.
Yeah.
Skiing, you have control. Snowboarding, you have control. Tubing, you have absolutely no control.
No.
You are at the mercy of the tube.
I probably wouldn't love that. That's actually a good point.
I mean, there's no way to steer effectively. I mean, you could try, but you're not.
Well,
You're
no,
not
I
gonna
mean,
be able to watch.
you can steer, but it's what you said. I mean, the moment that you even start doing it, I mean, you're lost.
You're just going to
gone.
spin yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you can't actually directionally change.
No.
You know.
I mean, I'm definitely not going down on my stomach if that's like
That's
I'm
what they
doing it
recommend.
sitting
That's
up.
what they recommended to us there. Like that's the
Oh.
interesting part of it was like they recommended to us like go down on your stomach.
It doesn't sound
It's
great.
weird.
That's
Yeah.
next level. I don't think I could.
Yeah,
I couldn't
I'm
do it.
just-
I didn't
yeah,
do it.
I-
I didn't do it. I will say this: the worst thing I think anybody could do, and there were some people talking about doing it, sitting all the way down in the tube to slow
yeah.
themselves down.
No.
As in letting your butt like basically be right on the sled
Way
that's
to
on the bottom.
shatter your coccyx.
And
Is that what it's called?
I mean, your back and your tailbone.
Yeah,
I mean,
tailbone.
your back would just be in tremendously bad shape if
Right.
you did that because it is a very packed, icy trail that you're
Yeah.
going down. That is not. You want the cushion of the tube,
All right.
and that's it.
I
So
might-
that's all I've got.
Can't confirm.
Josh, I got a
That's
question
what-
for you.
That's
though.
what I've got.
I got a question for you, Josh. As the golfer in me, and a little bit of Greystone. I love that place so much. What was the restaurant bar scene like? They got a beautiful restaurant bar in there.
They do, and it was a mob scene. It was
Was it?
packed. It was absolutely packed. Yeah, I think Nate and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, obviously, because his family's in the golf business, and my guess, and this is just just throwing random thoughts out into the world, but my guess is it's easier for them to turn a profit in the winter than it is in the summer during golf season. Golf is an incredibly expensive business to be in, and with the volume of people that were coming out, and most of the equipment that they're using, other than the water to feed the snow machine, is purchased once and kept, just basically maintained over time. I could see that being a very positive. Why else would they be doing it? I mean, they've done this for a bunch of years. Like Nate said, the bar and restaurant inside is absolutely gorgeous. You had all kinds of, it was clear you had members. You had people who actually frequent the golf course there, but you also had a ton of families.
It was also a
Yeah.
beautiful day.
Yeah, I mean, a ton of families there as well. I actually think that this kind of weather that we've been having, this kind of warmer than normal, not a lot of snowstorms, is ideal for them because it just guarantees that they're going to be busy. I mean, it was literally a 35,
Yeah.
37
They need cold
degree
nights
day.
though, just like last night. They got a cold night last night. That helps.
Yeah, and
Well, to that end though, I think a lot of that though is a travel aspect of it, where it's easier to get out and go and do these
Oh,
types
yeah.
of things.
yeah, I mean the number of families. I'm
Yeah.
talking families with 4, 5, 6
Right.
kids per group. That's when the weather starts to get a little hairy. I mean, those are the trips that families aren't going to
Right,
bother taking
right.
on a Saturday afternoon versus obviously this. I will say though, I mentioned to our friends that we were there with, I think doing that during while it's actually snowing would be infinitely more interesting than just doing it on a bright sunny day like we did on Saturday.
Either way,
But-
it looked really fun, and it definitely piqued my interest. So thank you for that.
Go try
Definitely
it.
an
Go
excite-
try it, people.
An
Go try it.
exciting video. I felt like I was there.